Hello you filthy animals. Welcome to the Arrowverse Rewrite series. This is a series of videos where I will attempt to use hindsight, having watched most of the Arrowverse, to attempt to fix whatever problems I personally had with it and to make it a better series overall. Because despite what a lot of people like to say, I think the Arrowverse was actually a good thing, and I just feel bad that it ended on such a low note. This video will cover season 3 episode 1 of the rewrite, and you're probably wondering, is he really gonna go every episode one by one? The answer is don't worry about it. Without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Before we get into it, there is something I forgot to say all the way in the season 1 rewrite, and it's about our MC Oliver, and it's this. Whilst the Arrow will remain a dark and broody character, basically the Arrowverse's version of Batman, Oliver Queen will be a joyful person who cracks jokes like any of the other Arrowverse main MCs, the way that Berian can crack jokes and Kara Danvers can crack jokes, and comic book version of Oliver Queen can crack jokes. And Stephen Amell will have to do his best acting to make these two characters seem distinct, almost as if someone taught Oliver how to separate the man from the monster. And when I say all this, of course there will be times when Oliver will be serious, he's not always cracking jokes, but there will be no times when the Arrow is joyful and cracking jokes. What am I saying? We will have mainly Oliver Queen is a joyful person, but there are times when we see him he's serious, but the Arrow is always serious, and there are no times we see him making jokes, at least not for these first 3 seasons. Now let's get into the flashbacks. We will find Oliver in a very dark place, and I don't mean the lighting of the room he's in, I mean his soul. And the reason for this is he loved his Lianu family. Slade Wilson, Shadow, and Cassandra Lance. And because of him, they're all dead. Each and every one of those people saved his life at least at one point. And it's because of him each and every one of them is dead. He directly killed Slade to the best of his knowledge. He was the one who made the choice that got Shadow killed. And him causing a war against Slade Wilson led to the death of Cassandra. So for the first time, ever since the Queen's Gambit went down all those years ago, we will see that Oliver does not wish to return home to Starling City. He cannot bear for his family to see what he's become. And this means that in that scene where he escapes Maceo and is running away, he won't go to Aceiba and try to send an email home, and in the next episode, Tommy shows up, all that. None of that will happen. Instead, he'll just try to run away and Maceo will catch him. Because even if you're feeling in a dark place, you still want to be free. But you get the point. He doesn't want to go home. He doesn't want his family to see the killer he's become. Then after that, Maceo will eventually take him to his home, introduce him to his family, and ask Oliver to stop running away, or Waller will kill his family, just like in the original. Moving over the present day, we will find same old Oliver Queen, or should I say the Arrow, with his new sidekick Speedy, fighting crime. And you heard that right, Roy Harper will be going by the name Speedy. Which means that there's something else that I need to change from a previous rewrite, which I also forgot to change. But this is because I mixed myself up. I thought that it happened in season 3, but the scene where Oliver calls Roy Speedy to calm him down when he's under the effects of the Mirakuru, and later on Roy says, if you ever give me a name, let it not be Speedy. It actually happened in season 2, not season 3. But we're retconning that. Instead of him being annoyed with that name, he'll like it because it's Thea's nickname. And the last thing to retcon from an earlier video is how Moira Queen escaped her death trial. Malcolm Merlyn won't be seen. In the original, he bribed a judge, and then he made it clear to her that he's the one who got her off death row. But in the rewrite, she'll be let off because there'll be some evidence proving that she was coerced. and that it was her husband, the late Robert Queen, who was actually in that group, not her. And anyway, after we see the superhero and his sidekick fighting crime, it will cut away to a debate. Actually, let's see this. Felicity, she's on the comms telling them where to go and what to do. After they're done catching the crook, she'll switch over to another monitor screen and turn on the news, where we will see that there is a debate happening on Starling City News between a man and a woman, and they're debating the arrow and his effect on Starling City. The fact remains, Martha, that ever since the arrow first showed up, crime has reduced a whopping 30%. Yes, but the remaining 70% have become more dangerous. Instead of regular criminals, we now have masked freaks with super strength and serial killers turning women into dolls. Starling City remains the second most dangerous city in the country. Oh, come on. It's not nearly that bad. Do you realize I live in the Glades? Last week, my kid was late coming home from school because they were busy playing basketball. And you know when he made it home? 8 p.m. He was fine. You realize that 2 years ago, my neighbor tried to go to the shop at 6:30 and got mugged. And it wasn't just my son. Every single one of those kids playing basketball made it home. You know why that is? It's because the criminals are afraid of the arrow. He is a hero and he's making a difference, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. A recent poll run by Starling City News shows that support for the green arrow, is at a whopping 60%. That's the majority of residents in Starling City. Of course criminals fear him. He's a goddamn serial killer, Brian. Have you forgotten how many people he butchered 2 years ago? Those businessmen and small-time crooks deserved a fair trial. Maybe some of them could have turned their lives around after serving their time, but he didn't give them the chance. Killed so many people, and it saddens my heart to see how many people have been brainwashed to think vigilantism is actually good and it's considered true justice. Recent amateur footage obtained by our own reporters shows that the Arrow has indoctrinated a new youth into his vigilantism gang, and witnesses heard him calling him Speedy. He is building an army, and mark my words, this lunatic is no hero. He lives for the hunt and he only cares about killing people. When there are no more small criminals for him to hunt down, he'll start coming after regular people like you and me. First it'll be jaywalkers, and then litterers, and then those young boys playing basketball late at night. A storm is coming, Brian. You mark my words. That's all for tonight, folks, and thanks for tuning in. That little debate serves to show the effect of Oliver's activities, his nighttime activities in his city over the last 2 years, and how the average citizen views them, because those two journalists represent the opposite ends of the spectrum. We can see that there's a lot of that. According to that poll that was done, 60%, that is indeed the majority. So a lot of people are starting to side with the Arrow. They think that he's making a difference, he's making their city better. But there's also that number that thinks that this guy is a serial killer. Why hasn't he been arrested by the cops? And interestingly enough, the next day when Commissioner Lance has that announcement saying that he's stopping the anti-vigilante police unit because the Arrow saved them from Slade's henchmen and he cannot hunt down the man who saved their city. It shows that most of the people in the city are really starting to believe in the Arrow. He may not have turned everyone to his cause, but he's making a difference. Now, speaking of Oliver, let's just wrap everything about Oliver since we're already on him. We will see that he has recently partnered with a man called Ted Cord to help him retake his company. Remember, he lost it last season. And Ted Cord will be played by Brandon Ruth. That means I'm getting rid of the character of Ray Palmer, but the actor will remain. And I don't even think that's a big change, because I'm pretty sure that was what they were originally planning. They wanted to do Ted Cord, but they couldn't because the DCU was making a Blue Beetle movie. But I mean, no one can stop me. I'm just a YouTuber. Anyway, that means in that scene where Felicity is working at some retail store and Ted Cord shows up asking for the best device to hack with, it won't be because he wants to get Queen consolidated and turn it into Palmer Industries, but rather he wants to help his new business partner Oliver, who he was introduced to by Walter. Now that Moira's dead and Robert's been dead for a while, Oliver's the official CEO of Queen Consolidated, so I think we should see some seasons of him being, the CEO and taking care of his company. I like the idea of him losing his fortune, but the fact that it happened so early in the series, and for most of the series he wasn't a billionaire like he is in the comics. It's weird. And we can say that Ted Cord is a person who likes competition, so he's still he already has his own company. He doesn't need Oliver's. And he's had a new building put in Sterling City so that they can have some healthy competition. Anyway, after that, we'll see Oliver go home, where he'll find he's received a letter from his sister Thea. She, at the moment, is writing to him from Corto Maltese, but all over the last few months, she's been on a world tour, enjoying different sites, and we'll see Oliver read that letter and he'll almost cry with happiness seeing her. Just from her writing, he can tell how happy she is, much happier than he's seen her ever since he came from Lianu. And he's just happy for his sister that she's no longer that sad, and you can tell that this world tour is really helping her. And in the letter, she'll ask him to please be careful when he's busy being a vigilante and fighting crime, and take care of himself not to get hurt, showing to the audience that despite her initial anger at him not telling the truth to her, she's gotten over it, and all she wants for him is for him to be careful. And she'll end the letter the same way she ends every other letter, because we'll see after she's done reading, he'll add the letter to a pile, indicating to the audience that this ain't the first letter she sent, and they've been communicating over the time skip between the two seasons. Anyway, she'll end the letter saying, "Please don't come for me. I'm not ready to come back. I'm not sure I'll ever come back. Please don't come for me." And Oliver will respect her wishes because, like I said, she's happier than he's ever seen her, and he wouldn't want to take that away from her. And Roy Harper, who's the only other resident living in Queen Manor at the moment, will come down, see the letter, and ask, "Has she written anything to me?" And Oliver will be like, "Nope." And from the conversation they'll have, we'll be able to tell that even she may not be angry at Oliver, but she's still very angry at Roy for cheating on her. And even though he keeps trying to write letters to her as well, when Oliver's writing them, she just ain't responding. She's basically leaving him on red. Although we'll see one of the older letters she wrote to Oliver said, "And tell Roy that he's a lying git." I don't wanna swear on YouTube, but you can get the point that she's angry, and she ain't about to forgive him anytime soon. Moving over to Dinah Lance's home, we will see that Cassandra Lance is back in town. We will find the two sisters enjoying their favorite pastime, sparring. Nyssa Al Ghul will be on the couch just watching them and enjoying a cup of tea as the two sisters spar. But when they're done, when they're wiping the sweat off, Cassandra's phone will ring and the atmosphere around the room will immediately change. Everyone will get all sad, and she'll look at the phone, look at the number, and then cut the call. "When do you think they will next let you return?" "I don't know, Dinah. The master was very angry when I dared ask for this visit. If Nyssa hadn't calmed him down, well, I might not have been here. I think he'd have killed me. Anyway, he's given me a mission that I suspect will take me over a year to complete, so don't expect me anytime soon. It's not fair. It's not fair." The two sisters will hug, and Cassandra will grab all her stuff, open the window and patch on it. Then she looked back at Nyssa, who has neither moved nor spoken this entire time. Nyssa will say, "Go on without me, beloved. I wish to converse with your sister alone." Cassandra will look at them curiously, but then without another word, she'll jump out the window and disappear into the night. The second she's gone, once again the atmosphere in the room will change, and from there, that will be able to infer that Dinah despises Nyssa and she was only tolerating Nyssa because Cassandra was there. But now that she's gone, we can see the vitriol. "What do you want?" Nyssa will put down her tea and say, "You'll never be as good as your sister. Is that why you stayed behind? To criticize me?" "No, but it is an important thing to note. Your sister Shiva is one of the best fighters in the entire league, and she has taught you almost all her techniques, yet you remain her inferior. Even though you are sisters, you were born together, raised together, and you both share the same passion for martial arts. Why do you think this is? Well, obviously, she has had way more time to train, years longer." Wrong. By her first year in the league, Shiva was already stronger than you are now. You can train for 1,000 years and you will still not catch up to her. "So my sister's more talented than me. What's your point?" Then Nyssa will stand up and walk over to where Dinah is. "The reason why nothing changes for you isn't the period of instruction, but the manner. Your sister will not teach you the same way she was taught, the same way I was taught. She holds back with you, and in doing so, holds you back." "So you're offering to teach me?" "No thanks. I don't need anything from someone like you." Nyssa will look straight into Dinah's eyes and say, "Something has changed in you. You're not the same helpless little bird I kidnapped last year to convince your sister to return to Nanda Parbat. There is a new fire in you that cannot and must not be extinguished. Yes, you are right. I do wish to train you, because despite your obvious hatred for me, I see myself in you. You see, I also have a sister. And just like you, for most of my life, I was her inferior in every way, especially in martial arts. And my father always made sure I knew it. If you let me, I can make you just as strong as Shiva, or at least strong enough to fulfill whatever mission fuels this new fire I see in you." Dinah will consider Nyssa for a long moment and then finally say, "Alright, fine, teach me." Nyssa will take off her jacket and say, "Sit down on the floor." And when Dinah does this, Nyssa will go to the kitchen and get the kettle, which was preparing a second cup of tea, and she'll also get a basin. And there she'll do that same test that Malcolm Merlin did with Thea, where he poured water on his own hand and then poured water on hers. Ouch! What the hell? For your first lesson, you must learn that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. After this, we will begin to spar, and I will correct all the mistakes I have observed in your technique. Moving over to Felicity and Diggle, we will see that Felicity is busy trying to catch the villain of the week, the villain of the episode, who was the new Count Vertigo. When Diggle will walk up to her, "Any luck?" "What? Oh yeah, I've tried literally everything I know, Dig. Either Checkmate doesn't exist, or it's the single best hidden spy group in the world. It's the League of Assassins of spy groups." "Oh," Diggle will say, and then he'll look down and clench his fist. "Well, thanks for trying. I know it exists. Deadshot wasn't lying. I know it. I have to find Checkmate and avenge my brother. I need to get justice for his murder." "Dig, I hate seeing you like this. It's all you ever think about. I mean, what happens if you don't find Checkmate? This revenge, I don't want you to become like the Huntress." Diggle will pause for a moment, then say, Thanks for your help, Felicity. I better go check up on baby John. Felicity will sigh and then say, wait, I'll keep trying. I hate puzzles. They need to be solved. After I'm done with this vertigo thing for Oliver, I'll focus on finding checkmate. Thank you, Felicity. Yeah. Wait, we're so dumb. Why haven't we asked Oliver? He was on an island for 5 years. What would he know? Besides, I suspect he would also try to talk me out of seeking revenge. I wonder why. But if all else fails, I'll talk to him. Okay, last thing to note is later in the episode when Oliver will calm down and find them there, and baby John is also in the bunker because his mother, aka Diggle's wife, Layla Michaels, is on a long-term mission in another country. A top secret mission, mind you. And we'll see that scene. I don't know when it happened in the original, but anyway, in the rewrite it's happening in the season 3 pilot. That scene where Oliver finds the baby and asks, hey, you can have a baby in here? And then Diggle will be like, why not, Oliver? Who's he gonna tell? And in reality it's true. Who's the baby gonna tell? But the reason why I'm bringing this up at all is, even though it's true, baby John, he's less than a year old. There's no way he can retain anything that he's seeing around him. But in a much later episode, in a much later season, when we see that he's become Connor Hawk, the Green Arrow of the future, one of the reasons why he'll give as to why he became the Green Arrow is he spent a lot of his childhood in that bunker, and eventually he started to pick up on things, and it inspired him. Seeing the original Green Arrow in action inspired him to, because of whatever's gonna be happening at that time, we'll see when we get there, to take up the hood and save Starling City. Now, everything I've said up to this moment will be cut in between each other with the plot of the episode, hunting down the new Count Vertigo, in between with flashbacks and what they'll cut between each other like a regular episode. However, the scene that I'm about to describe is what will end the episode, and nothing will cut in between it. All the other plot lines will have been wrapped up by then. The scene is, we'll see Nyssa and Dinah enjoying some fast food at a restaurant, and Dinah's hands are wrapped up in bandages after, the hot water training and all the sparring that they did. I still can't figure out if that training regiment was supposed to help me or kill me. I would expect you to repeat those forms 200 times a day, every morning and every night. In the daytime, we will practice other disciplines, and you need on-field training. And lady, calm down. I don't know about you, but I've got an actual job. I can't be doing 200 forms every single morning and still be a lawyer throughout the day. Alright then, we'll come up with a program to work around your work schedule. Let's change the topic. Won't your father start sending assassins after you the same way he did with Cassandra once you failed to show up with her at Nanda Parbank? It's Nanda Parbat, and no, he will not, because I am one of the heirs to the demon, and I am free to come and go from Nanda Parbat as I please. My sister abuses this freedom all the time. Why shouldn't I? Anyway, it would still be prudent to inform my father of my plans so he doesn't think anything has happened to me. And to that end, I have already written this letter, which I plan to deliver tonight to one of the League of Assassins safe houses. Luckily for me, the closest one is in this very city. If I give this letter to any assassin, it will find its way to my father. Your sister, you mentioned her earlier. Tell me about her. Well, I've not seen her in quite some time. We have never been nearly as close as you are with your own sister Shiva, but I think she especially hates me now. You see, it was my fault Shiva was able to escape last year. Subterfuge and deception are Kunoichi's greatest weapons, and your sister is a master. She exploited my trust in her and used it to slip past me. But when she did, she need not escape alone. With her was another assassin, who I suspect was just as precious to my sister as Shiva is to me. He is a true ghost, and ever since his escape, the League has followed every whisper, tracked down every rumor, and yet they cannot find him. He has truly disappeared into the shadows. Anyway, what does it matter? It's irrelevant to what we are doing. It's interesting, I'd like to know more about you if you're gonna be teaching me. Anyway, looks like we're both done. So I already paid, so let's just leave. And the two women will leave the restaurant and step out into an alley on their way home. When they're alone, Dinah will admit, "You were right." About what? About everything. About me. About the new fire in me, driven by a mission. I want to take Cassandra's old alias and become the new canary. I may not be as strong as her, but I have power. A new power that I recently unlocked. Power that, combined with my combat prowess, I believe will make me more than strong enough to save my city. I know she can be saved, but nothing will ever change if her people don't rise up and fight for her. You'll fail. What do you mean? If your goal is to become her, become Shiva, you will fail. You are not your sister, and you never will be. Instead, you must take her mantle and make it your own. Don't become the canary. Become someone else. Something else. Alright, Nyssa, I clearly misjudged you. Not nearly as Nyssa gets shot in the chest. She immediately looks up and we can see a sniper on the roof looking down at them, but hidden in the shadows. Instantly she'll perform some ninjutsu using the fire escape to get to the roof, and to the audience surprise, Dinah is not far behind her. We can see that she's still also able to use the same technique and she'll get to the roof. Though obviously Nyssa will be the one in the lead. However, when they get there, there's no one on the roof, and Nyssa will fall to her knees and begin coughing blood. Dinah will rush to help her. "Are you okay?" "The bullet. It must have had. It was poisoned." She'll then turn her head briskly and look up. Dinah in the camera will look up in the same direction Nyssa's looking and see there's a figure hidden in the shadows on a roof higher than the roof they're on, next to a water tank, looking at them. When he sees that he's been spotted, he'll step out of the shadows. You will see that he has a mask with a white bullseye on it, and he'll say, "Thud." Nyssa will immediately try to draw her blade, but the poison will overwhelm her and she'll fall to the ground with a thud. The man with the white bullseye on his mask will pull out a radio and say, "Obtain the asset." Some well-armed goons, all masked and clad in black gear, will emerge from the shadows and head for Dinah and the unconscious Nyssa. Dinah will look at them as they aim their guns, and then she'll scream, unleashing her canary cry. While they are all discombobulated, she will immediately begin engaging them in hand-to-hand combat, and she will actually take down a considerable number of them. However, the man with the white bullseye on his mask will jump down and engage her, and we will see his skills far beyond Dinah's, and he'll say, "Slash," and then make a slash at her with his sword, and she'll be able to move back in time. He was aiming for her throat, and so the blade will nick her and make a small cut, not enough to kill her, but enough to prevent her from being able to scream again. And then when she falls to the ground in pain, he'll say, "Bang," and he'll pull out her handgun and shoot her in the leg. "A kiss to remember me by." Then he'll kick her head to knock her out. And the last thing Dinah will see before she completely passes out is Nyssa being tied up and carried away by the goons.
That brings us to the end of the rewrite. If you by any chance enjoyed the video, then I have some wonderful news for you. My connections at YouTube have informed me that if you press the like and subscribe button in 0.3 seconds, they award you a free lifetime YouTube premium membership. So who knows? Might as well try your luck. Watch episode 2, The Letter, by clicking the link on your screen right now. And thanks for watching. Until then, hail and farewell.